A surprising piece of news came from the White House. President Donald Trump, the current president of the U.S., announced a big plan. He wants to build a giant arch in Washington, D.C. This new structure is called the Independence Arch. Some people also call it the Arc de Trump. It would be a very large monument. President Trump revealed his plan in the middle of October, in the year 2025. He spoke about it at a special dinner held at the White House. Important guests and people who donate money were there. The new arch would be built to mark a very special day. It would celebrate the 250th anniversary of American independence. This means 250 years since America became a free country. The proposed location for this arch is important. It would stand directly across from the famous Lincoln Memorial. It would be at the end of the Arlington Memorial Bridge. This is a very known and historic area in the nation's capital. When the news came out, it quickly caused many discussions. People all over the country started talking about this big idea. Some found it very interesting. Others did not like it and spoke against it. Many were simply curious about what it meant. This project is not just a building. It has started a big debate. This monument, if built, could change the famous view of Washington, D.C. forever. It could become a new landmark, making the capital's skyline different for years to come. This story is about this powerful idea and its journey. 2. A big idea. It was mid-October in the year 2025. Important people gathered at the White House for a special dinner. These guests included powerful business leaders and other important people from across the country. President Donald Trump hosted the event. It was a high-profile evening, full of important discussions and anticipation. The atmosphere was formal, with guests eager to hear what the president would share. During the dinner, President Trump shared a new, bold idea. He wanted to build a very large and grand arch in Washington, D.C. To help everyone understand his plan, he presented 3 different models of the arch to his guests. The models varied quite a lot in their size, from medium to very big. President Trump made his preference clear, telling everyone that the biggest model looked the best by far. He had a strong liking for large and impressive structures. He named his ambitious plan the Independence Arch. This new monument, he explained, would celebrate a very special upcoming time in America's history. The year 2026 would mark the 250th anniversary of American independence, a truly significant milestone. President Trump wanted the arch to be completed and unveiled alongside the major America 250 festivities that year. He described his vision with great detail. He said the arch would make people feel a deep and strong connection to the nation's past when they saw it. He hoped it would stand as a powerful symbol of American pride, strength, and its long journey. The president also carefully told the guests about the proposed location for the arch. He had chosen a very historic and special place within the Capitol. It was planned to be very close to the famous Lincoln Memorial. The exact spot was a beautiful, grassy traffic circle at the end of the Arlington Memorial Bridge. This bridge is a well-known and ceremonial entrance to Washington, D.C., guiding people right into the heart of the capital city. The chosen location is positioned directly to the west of the Lincoln Memorial, an area already known for its grand, classical buildings and monuments. President Trump believed this particular spot was perfect for such a big and important national monument. He thought it would make the gateway to the city even more impressive and unforgettable. Every time someone crossed the beautiful bridge, they would look up and see this new, magnificent arch. It would be a constant, strong reminder of America's enduring history and spirit. 3. The arch's design. The design for the Independence Arch showed a very big and important-looking structure. It was made by an architecture company named Harrison Design. They created many pictures and three-dimensional models to show what the arch would look like. The chosen design was classical, meaning it looked like old, grand buildings from history. This style was like famous arches in Europe. One important inspiration was the Arc de Triomphe in Paris, France. President Donald Trump had a clear idea of what he wanted. He had visited Europe and admired the grand monuments there. He often said that the biggest model of the arch looked the best. This showed his personal wish for something very bold and large. The arch was meant to be even bigger than the Lincoln Memorial, standing out as a major landmark in Washington, D.C. The arch would have many special details. At the very top, there would be a shining golden statue. This statue was a figure of Lady Liberty with strong, beautiful wings. On each side of the arch, there would be large eagles carved from white marble. These eagles and the golden Lady Liberty would add to the arch's grand and symbolic appearance. The whole design aimed to show American strength and freedom. President Donald Trump's personal taste for architecture was clear in this project. He loved grand, traditional styles. He believed that classical architecture showed democracy, strength, and unity. This was part of a larger plan during his time as president to make federal buildings look more traditional again. Other projects, like changes to the White House Rose Garden and a new ballroom there, also showed his love for this type of design. The Independence Arch was meant to be a grand statement, a visual symbol of America's 250th anniversary, reflecting the president's vision for the nation's capital. 4. An old plan. The idea for a grand arch in Washington, D.C. is not completely new. Long before President Donald Trump shared his vision, people considered building a similar monument in the same area. This shows that the special location has always been seen as important for a major landmark. More than 100 years ago, in the year 1902, a plan was made for a different triumphal arch. This earlier arch was meant to honor President and General Ulysses S. Grant. It was proposed for the same traffic circle, which is at the end of the Arlington Memorial Bridge. This bridge serves as a significant entrance to the city. The plan aimed to add a sense of majesty and history to this important spot. However, the arch for President Grant was never built. The idea was put aside. For many years, the area remained without the grand monument that some had imagined. The exact reasons why the original plan was stopped are not fully clear, but it did not move forward at that time. Now, President Trump's project brings this old dream back to life. He has spoken about the historical significance of the site. He said the place was designed for grandeur but was left empty. He believes this makes it a strong reason to build the arch now. His Independence Arch proposal takes inspiration from this past idea. It seeks to fulfill a long-held vision for the Capitol's gateway. This connection to an earlier time adds another layer to President Trump's plan. It suggests that the desire for such a monument is deeply rooted in the city's history. While the designs are modern, the core idea of a grand arch in this specific location has a historical precedent. It is a story of an old dream waiting for its time. 5. Paying for the dream. The new arch, a grand vision, also raised an important question. How would such a large project be paid for? People across the country wondered about the financial cost. President Donald Trump offered some initial ideas. He suggested that money left over from another big project could help. This other project was a $250 million expansion of a ballroom at the White House. He thought these leftover funds could be a start for financing the arch. However, more money would be needed, and wealthy individuals and large companies were crucial. These important financial supporters were known as donors. They were key guests at the White House dinner where the arch plan was first shown to the public. Many of these donors had already given significant amounts of money for the White House ballroom expansion. Their continued support was seen as vital to make the arch project a reality. Using private money from these rich donors for a national monument led to many discussions and concerns. People worried about the meaning of private funds going into a public symbol. Some asked if this could give private individuals too much influence over a monument meant for all Americans. They questioned the line between celebrating the nation and marking a president's personal legacy. The White House stated that it would eventually tell everyone the names of the main contributors to these projects. The exact total cost of the arch was not yet made public, nor were the full details of its construction timeline. This lack of clear information worried many. At the same time, the country faced difficult challenges like budget cuts, reductions in federal jobs, and urgent urban problems such as homelessness. Critics openly asked if a very expensive new arch was the right priority when other needs were so great. They debated if the project was truly for the nation's benefit or more about leaving President Trump's personal stamp on Washington, D.C. This central question about private money funding public landmarks sparked a widespread debate about who truly shapes and owns America's shared memories and symbols. 6. Many problems. The plan for the Independence Arch was big, but many problems started to appear. Building a new monument in Washington, D.C. is never easy. The city has many old and important buildings. Special groups must agree before anything new can be built. These groups protect the city's history and its beautiful look. Two very important groups are the National Capital Planning Commission and the U.S. Commission of Fine Arts. Think of them as guardians of Washington's past and beauty. They look at all new building plans. They check if new projects fit well with the existing city. They make sure new buildings do not harm old ones or change the city's special character too much. For a monument as large as the Arch, their approval was a must. Without it, the project could not move forward. But there was another big problem. At this time, the government was shut down. A government shutdown means that many government offices stop working. Important workers go home, and many normal tasks stop. This included the work of the National Capital Planning Commission and the U.S. Commission of Fine Arts. Because of the shutdown, these groups could not meet. They could not look at President Donald Trump's Arch plans. This stopped the approval process completely. This made things very difficult. The president had a big vision, but the rules of the city were strong. Every new monument needs to pass many steps. Each step takes time. With the government shutdown, the project was in a difficult situation. It was like trying to run a race, but the track was closed. The Independence Arch needed to be studied very carefully. The committees would look at its size, its design, and how much it would cost. They would think about its place near the famous Lincoln Memorial and the Arlington Memorial Bridge. They would also ask if it truly honored American history in the right way, and if it would fit the city's well-known look. These questions were important for such a large public work. But all these important discussions had to wait. The dream of the Arch faced a long and hard road. It was not just about money or beautiful design anymore. It was about getting through the many rules and problems that come with building something so big and important in Washington, D.C. This meant a lot of paperwork, many meetings, and careful decisions from many people. The future of the Arch was unclear, caught between a grand vision and the strict rules of the city, made harder by the government's pause. 7. People talk about it. The news about the Independence Arch spread quickly. Soon, people all over the country were talking about it. This big plan made many people happy, but it also made many people angry. The public was divided. Supporters of the Arch loved the idea. They said it was a wonderful symbol of American pride and strength. For them, it was time for Washington, D.C. to have a grand new monument. They felt the city's western entrance needed something important, like other big capital cities in the world. Some people said the empty space at the end of the Arlington Memorial Bridge had always needed a monument. President Donald Trump, they argued, was simply bold enough to make it happen. These supporters believed the Arch would bring people together. It would be a place for national holidays and a way to honor American history. They saw it as a modern addition to other great monuments, like the Lincoln Memorial. An article in the National Civic Society's journal asked,
Washington needs a powerful symbol of triumph and optimism. Why shouldn't we have an American Arc de Triomphe? They felt it would help people feel proud of their country again, especially during challenging times. However, many others did not agree. These critics were very vocal. They included historians, architects, and many people who did not like the idea of a president building such a large personal monument. They called the project a vanity project. This meant they thought President Donald Trump was building it more for himself and his own fame than for the nation. Some even compared it to how leaders in countries with less freedom might build things to make themselves seem more important. Critics also worried about the money. They asked if this was the best use of money when there were other problems like housing or fixing roads. They also questioned the arch's design. Was it truly American to copy an arch from Paris? They felt that for America's 250-year anniversary, a more unique American monument was needed. This new monument, they said, seemed to blur the line between a national symbol and something linked too closely to one person. The debate went deeper than just design or money. People talked about the true purpose of the arch. Was it for national unity, as President Trump said? Or was it more about his personal legacy? Did it truly add to the American story, or did it make national memory too personal? Who decides what the country remembers and honors? These questions were not just about a building. They were about America's identity and values. They explored how a nation, even a divided one, should celebrate its history and future.
Many feared that such a monument, instead of uniting Americans, might only cause more disagreements. The discussion was fierce, showing how different people saw America's past, present, and future. This ongoing talk about the arch, even before it was built, showed how strongly people felt. It made everyone think about what monuments truly mean and what they should stand for in a democratic country. 8. A lasting question. The story of the Independence Arch is more than just a big building. It is about bigger ideas for America. This project started important talks about what the nation is and what it values. Monuments are not only made of stone or metal. They tell stories about a country. They show what ideas a nation thinks are important and who it wants to remember. President Donald Trump's plan for the arch brought up old questions about national identity. For example, what kind of buildings should represent America in its capital? Should new federal buildings always look classical, like old European arches? Or should they be modern and show new ideas? Some people think classical styles mean strength and unity. Others believe modern designs are better for today's diverse country. This debate shows people have different thoughts about America's visual style. The arch also made people ask who gets to decide what becomes a lasting memory for a nation. Is it one person's wish, or does everyone have a part in choosing? The chosen location for the arch, near Arlington Memorial Bridge, makes these questions important. This spot was once thought of for a monument to a past president, Ulysses S. Grant, in 1902. But that older plan was never built. Now, President Trump has brought this old idea back to life. The future of the Independence Arch is still not clear. There are many steps needed for such a large project to get approval. Government committees must review the plans very carefully. They work to protect the city's history and look. These processes can be long and full of challenges. The debate about the arch is very strong. Many people support it, saying it will add to national pride. Others are against it, calling it too personal a project. Supporters believe the arch would be a powerful symbol of American strength. They say it would make the entrance to Washington, D.C. look grander. Critics, however, worry it is too much about one person's mark. They also question if this is the best way to spend money when other problems need fixing. No matter if the Independence Arch is built or not, the discussions it has started will continue for a long time. People will keep thinking about what monuments mean to America. They will ask what kind of stories these big structures should tell for the next 250 years. What do you think monuments should represent? A leader's dream or the whole nation's shared history?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.